Hey guys, what's going on? Mike the Caveman Kuhn here again from Paleoprimal Long Island and MikeTheCaveman.com. And today's question comes from my good friend Dino, original member of Team Scrap. And to summarize, his question is, are humans designed to be vegetarian? And of course the answer is no. Roll credits. What, you want more? Oh, okay, sorry. So, real quick, just looking from a gut morphological standpoint, so basically the shape and size, and a comparative analysis between us and other types of animals, whether they be omnivores, or herbivores, or carnivores. From a morphological standpoint, we are best described as a combination of frugivores and faunivores. Now, there are three main types. A faunivore would be like a carnivore, someone that's eating fauna or animals. A frugivore would be predominantly fruits and starches, whereas a folivore would be one who's eating predominantly leaves. With that being said, we fall mostly on that frugivore-faunivore spectrum. So we are ones who eat some combination of those two. So some fruits and starches, as well as predominantly animals. That being said, because of cooking, we are able to eat a wide variety, and humans are very adaptable. That's the reason why you can have like the Inuits up in Alaska, and they eat predominantly animal only. Or you have like the Catawbans who eat a variety of starches as well as some animals. So we are very adaptable. One other concession is the higher presence of salivary amylase, which is an enzyme in our saliva that can help us to digest starch before it gets even down into the stomach. That's the reason why, if you know the old trick when you were a kid, if you took a piece of bread and you put it in your mouth and you let it sit there for a long time, it gets sweet. Why? Well, that salivary amylase breaks down that starch into sugars in your mouth, and you can taste that sweet. Now, moving down to the stomach. Now, you know there's the old vegetarian myth regarding meat rotting in your colon. You know, it takes 5 to 7 days and it rots in your colon. Well, that's where things get pretty interesting. So what happens when food, particularly start with meat, when it gets to your stomach? There is a lot of stomach acid there, right? The high level of hydrochloric acid results in a very low pH, ideally, and that combined with the digestive enzyme pepsin in the stomach, those break down meat very efficiently. You have a vat of acid along with an enzyme designed to break down the protein in your stomach. So that meat gets digested right there. From there, it creates something called chyme, and that chyme then gets slowly released into your small intestine. Once it's there, along with any fats and carbohydrates that you ate, well, those get broken down by other enzymes. Proteins get further broken down to amino acids using trypsin and chymotrypsin. Those starches get broken down by amylase. Those sugars get broken down by sucrase in the case of sucrose, as well as lactase in the case of lactose for those who are lactose tolerant, right? So if you are one of those Northern Europeans that tolerates lactose, you have lactase in your small intestine. Fats then get broken down by lipase, as well as the bile salts. That's why somebody who has had their gallbladder removed has problems digesting those fats because they are unable to produce that bile. Okay, next step. What happens now? Anything that didn't get absorbed through the small intestine now makes it to the large intestine. And what's down there? Wait for it. Your gut bacteria. So, what's their job? Their job is to ferment anything that's made it through that you haven't digested yet. What are the things that haven't been digested yet? Well, you have like cellulose, which makes up the majority of plant matter, and unfortunately, it is indigestible. That's why it's an insoluble fiber. Humans do not possess the bacteria to digest cellulose. That's why we can't really eat grasses. We don't get too much out of it. But do you know what does possess those enzymes? Well, the rumen, which is a special compartment of gut in ruminants, which are, cows and deer and elk and bison and buffalo. All those grass-fed ruminants, the reason why they're supposed to eat grass is that they can actually break down that cellulose in the grass. So they can absorb nutrients from that grass, unlike us. We do not have the enzymes to do it ourselves, nor do we have the gut bacteria to do it. Moving past that, once it gets to the bacteria, things that are fermented are those soluble fibers, as well as resistant starches, as well as certain sugars, such as, let's say, raffinose. Raffinose comes in beans. Well, what does that do? That produces gas. That's why beans can result in flatulence, in farting. Why? Because we do not possess the enzymes to break down raffinose. So our bacteria digests it, and it's an incomplete digestion, and we get that nice, beautiful gas. Awesome. So just a quick recall on what the definition of rotting is. It's the fermentation by bacteria and or fungi. So the bacteria in your gut ferment those soluble fibers and resistant starch, which would be found in vegetables and grains and legumes. But it's meat that rots in your colon, right? Anyway, so no, that vegetation is what rots. Not saying it's a bad thing. Those bacteria, again, are amazing. So it's super important you feed them, but you don't have to feed them grains or legumes. So other problems, though, with a vegetarian versus omnivorous diet. Well, there are certain things that you simply cannot get from vegetables alone. Things like B12. Vitamin B12 is produced by bacteria and then it gets concentrated in the meat of animals. Yes, there are ways of getting it through yeast and getting it through various bacteria like blue-green algae. They are able to produce that B12, but the amounts you're getting, it's a lot easier to get it in through that animal alone. Other things though, heme iron. Heme iron is a type of iron that is only found in animals. The iron that you find in plants, it's less bioavailable. It's less able to be absorbed in adequate amounts, leading to iron deficiency. Now, other reasons why there could be iron deficiency, those grains and legumes. There is the presence of phytic acid in those grains and legumes. Now, there are a lot of vegetables that have it as well, particularly green leafies, but it is the highest in like soy and various grains. As such, that phytic acid can chelate the iron that you find in those grains and legumes and in green leafies, making it less bioavailable. Now, adding vitamin C will help increase the bioavailability of that iron, but it's better off just getting it from those animals. One more thing are the essential fatty acids. Now, unfortunately, the essential fatty acids you find in plants, the omega-3s, are in the precursor forms. They're not in the final, the EPA and the DHA. Those are the ones that are biologically active in humans and result in the most effect, the most health benefits. Unfortunately, the conversion rates from those plant sources is incredibly low, and as such, it is not optimal. The amounts of polyunsaturated fats you'd have to eat, the amounts of omega-3 and omega-6 you'd have to eat from plant sources would end up getting oxidized and would not be worth it in the long run. You're better off, again, just getting preformed omega-3s from those fish and from grass-fed ruminants. Now, it is possible to get preformed omega-3 from that blue-green algae again, but it bioaccumulates in fish. Similar to how mercury can bioaccumulate up the food chain, those fish can eat that blue-green algae and they can produce it and their bodies store it. Similar again to how those animals can store the B12. So the last part, of course, is the complete amino acid profiles. The protein profiles in animals is more bioavailable. There are more complete proteins. With plants, you have to combine, rice and beans in order to get to a complete protein. So rather than trying to eat copious amounts of those potentially deleterious foods, wouldn't it make more sense to eat the preformed ones? Get your complete protein in. Get your complete essential fatty acid in. Get in the complete iron. Get in your B12. Get in those micronutrients in the source that's going to be available to the body. And without the deleterious ones, without those anti-nutrients. So absorb those minerals and those vitamins without the issues. So, despite the concerns about not being able to digest animal products, our system is designed perfectly for it. If you are having problems with digestion, well, if it's on the starchier end or the sugar end, get in a quality probiotic like Megaspore. If it's on the animal end, so more along proteins and fats, well, make sure to get in some quality digestive enzymes like Fibrenza. Fibrenza has that pepsin, the trypsin. It has the lipase. It even has amylase for the starch end. So digestive enzymes are a great idea. You can also consider betaine HCl, which is a source of hydrochloric acid for your stomach. So if you're having problems with digestion, you can supplement along. But if you're eating those foods regularly, you shouldn't have an issue. So the take-home message is we are omnivorous. We are able to eat pretty much everything. We can adapt to it. Our systems are designed to process mostly animals along with some starches and fruits. Our gut bacteria take care of a lot of the vegetation, and then prepping and cooking takes care of even those grains and legumes for the most part. That's why soaking, sprouting, fermenting are essential. If you even consider grains or legumes, you need to soak, sprout, and ferment them because that process makes them at least somewhat edible. Okay, those things were not edible. They were toxic to us before we learned how to properly prepare them and or cook them. But there's nothing that's in them that you can't find in those animals, vegetables, and starches. So if you're going to choose to eat them, prepare them properly. If not, well, you're going to be better off. Eat the real foods. Get it? So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. You know what to do. Like and subscribe down below. Make sure you share it with your friends. Head over to Instagram and Twitter and go and follow at Mike the Caveman. Head over to Facebook and like Paleo Primal Long Island. And of course over to MikeTheCaveman.com. That being said, guys, I'll see you next time. And man, do I love this weather. See you later.